Okay, everyone, welcome to our new consultant training call. This is actually a different type of training call than we have done in the past. What we decided to do is kind of put all the entire 7 steps into one training course. That way you can kind of get everything that you need right from the start. And then we'll be able to go back and kind of filter through some of this with you, with your recruiter. So Brandy, you're directly linked to me. So I will go back and review some of this with you. And then Tammy, you're directly connected to Karen. So she will go back over this with you as well. But today is going to be a kind of a broad overview of some of the things that you can look forward to with your Pampered Chef business. So we're going to go ahead and jump right in and get started. So we have a program called our 7 Steps to Fast Track Success. And oftentimes the only kind of issue that comes with that is just how to navigate through it. And so that's kind of our goal today, is to teach you how to navigate through it, teach you how to find things along the way. So my suggestion would be this, and that is, if you have some paper, go ahead and take out a sheet of paper. If you're like, what is paper? Obviously you can do this on your computer. But I'm going to make some references under each step. You'll see the steps outlined from number 5 to 11. And that way, when you go back to your notes, you'll be able to say, oh, that's right. She said in step 5, I should be able to find this. And so it'll be helpful for you to be able to take some notes along the way. But for now, until we get to number 5, which is step 1, you can just kind of listen along and you'll be fine just doing that. So welcome everyone to our new consultant training call. If you can take a minute, we've already talked about the new consultant form, fill out questions 1 through 6, and that will get us started. And the idea of this form is so we can help you achieve what you're looking for, because ultimately in a business like this, you don't start to fail. You start to be successful, make extra money, earn free products, all that good stuff. So on the form, it's going to ask you just some basic questions. Who recruited you, your birthday, if you've hosted a party in the last 2 months, and if you've had a launch party. And that'll kind of give us an idea of how we're going to help you be able to start your Pampered Chef business. So one of the things that we discovered from doing Pampered Chef for quite some time, I've been with the company now for 21 years, and I love every single moment of it. Of course, there's always little things here and there that get on your nerves, but that's just the idea of having, a different type of job. But honestly and truthfully, I would have never continued on with this company for 21 years if I didn't believe in the product, believe in the programs, and of course, make some really good income. So what is your why? Ultimately, that is your driving force. That's what gets you out of bed. That's what gets you to go to your full-time job. That's what makes you feed your children. Your why is circumventing all around in your life. But sometimes we don't think about our why when it comes to personal things that we want, like our goals and our dreams and our wants and desires for the future. But ultimately, our why is what drives us. So John Maxwell is a great motivational speaker, talks a lot about faith and Christianity and things like that, but he has some really good quotes about why. And he says, when you find your why, you will find your way. And I think that is just so simple, but truly right to the point. And so we want to help you discover your why and what motivates you. When I started Pampered Chef back in 1998, we were in-home parties only. There was no such thing as a computer. We didn't have any kind of cell phones, nothing. It was all analog and all the basic stuff. We had to literally write our orders on a piece of paper and mail them to Pampered Chef, and that's how orders got processed. So we have come quite a bit of ways in a very short period of time. And one of the things that I've discovered is that I knew from the beginning what I wanted. I didn't know if I was going to be able to achieve it, but I knew what I wanted. And at that time, I had a 5-year-old and a 3-month-old. And then I had another baby after that a while back. And now they're 31, 25, and 20. And so time flies, certainly. But what made me want to do this was so I could stay home with my 5-year-old when she got home from daycare or from kindergarten, and then my infant who was just born. And that was truly my goal. But I didn't really know how this business was ever going to make that happen, because I had a good job, but I just didn't like the fact that I had to leave them at daycare and spend so much money. So they became my why. I sat down and I said, okay, I spend $1,250 a month in daycare expenses. And this is back in 1998. So if I could make $1,250, that's less money than I need. So that's kind of how I determined what I wanted and what I needed with Pampered Chef. And in 1.5 months, I achieved my goal. So it is so different now. I mean, people are making quadruple what we made back in 1998, not only because prices are higher, but because we have this amazing team that lines us up with all of the processes and the systems in place. So as a new consultant, you're going to be able to step right into your business, follow the 7 steps, and you will be off to a superstar success. So on the second part of that form that we gave you, we want to know a little bit more about your why. So if you can take a quick minute and just fill out the rest of the form, if you haven't already done so, and tell us what sparked your interest. Like for me, I wanted to stay home with my kids. So money, products, all that good stuff, that's what sparked my interest. And then I reflected on my why statement, and I wanted, I kind of wrote down, this is why this is important to me, because I want to stay home with my kids. I want to be a stay-at-home mom, but I need a career. I need to stay in a career platform to keep my skills sharp, but also to provide a substantial income for my family. And so I decided I needed to make back then $1,000 a month so I could stay home with my kids. And that's actually what continues to make me drive my business. I'm putting away an extra $1,000 every month towards retirement so I can retire at 58 versus 69. So that was my goal and why I continue on with Pampered Chef. However, life has changed completely and I make way more money than that. And I'm going to share a little bit about that as we go through. So at the bottom of this why form, it's basically going to ask you what got you excited about Pampered Chef. Was it the free products, the extra money, the travel, the idea of being debt-free? Fill out any of those boxes that kind of spark your interest. And that way, again, we can help you achieve what you're looking for. Okay, so let's talk about the money, because oftentimes money talks, right? Money talks definitely to men, especially if you're married, money talks. So letting them know what the possibilities are is super helpful. Can everyone get here? Absolutely. There's nothing unique about myself. I just had a why and a drive, and I decided I was not going to let much get in my way. There's always speed bumps, there's always setbacks, but again, you have to kind of put your head down and say, what do I really want from this business, and what do I want to achieve? And so right from the start, I love the fact that Pampered Chef was paid for performance. That means that if you do a good job in your full-time job, oftentimes what you get is more work. And that's not exactly what happens with Pampered Chef. You get more work because you want more work with Pampered Chef, but you also get equal pay. So that's the cool thing about this. You work, you get paid. You work harder, you get paid more. You work a lot harder, you get paid even more. And it's so different than any type of corporate America job that's out there. It's truly what you put in is what you get out. And I love that because it really mimics your effort that you're putting in. So let's talk about the first paycheck. And I realized as I was finishing up this PowerPoint, I realized I cut off the amount of the paycheck. However, we can read it together so you can kind of see. So this was my very first paycheck back as an online consultant with Pampered Chef back in April of 2020. We went totally online, and this is where everything changed exponentially. So I was making about $1,500 a month, but then when the online opportunity came about, my income was quadruple, and you'll see how quickly it went up. So in this very first month, it was $2,111.24, and I did, you can see here, 8 parties. That means I was in my home running parties from my computer. I did 8 of them in that very first month, and I made just over $2,000. So I was super excited to think, wow, that's how much money I can make. Okay, I'm cool with online parties. I don't ever have to step into somebody's house again unless I choose to do so. So my director said, okay, Lorraine, you did 8 parties. How many of those 8 people, how many of those 8 hosts or those customers did you sign up? And I said, none. And she's like, why? Because we have this relationship. And I'm like, look, just keep it real with me. Tell me exactly what I need to do. And that's what I'm going to, set out to do. And she said, well, if you go back and talk to each one of your hosts that you just did a party with, and I'll give you the words to say, I can almost guarantee you're going to sign at least 3 out of those 8. And I'm like, okay, what do I have to lose? It's literally press a button, push a message. When anybody replied, she just helped me out with what to say next, as I will do for you guys. And boom, I had a thriving team in a very, very short period of time. So my very first month, I signed 3 new consultants. She did all the coaching and training, just like I will do for you guys. And then what happened was I started to get more parties and more parties and more parties. I ended up with 50 bookings on my calendar. And I'm like, what am I going to do with all these parties? So at that point in time, I realized I needed to be a lot better at recruiting so I could give these parties away to other people, because there's only so much I could do. I work a full-time job and do this. So in my second month with Pampered Chef, I became much more focused and intentional. I did about 4 to 6 parties each week alongside of my full-time job, and I signed up 10 new consultants. But watch what happened to my paycheck. So instead of my paycheck being $2,114, my paycheck went to $7,434.62. So talk about a life-changing opportunity in my second month as a Pampered Chef online consultant. And the beauty of this business is that, again, I'm not unique. I just followed all the systems, the processes that are in place. I stumbled, I tripped over boards, I tripped over all of these documents, but I just kept asking my recruiter over and over, where do I find this? How do I get here? And I thought, oh my gosh, she's going to hate me. But trust me, she didn't. She was super excited that I was getting this image and this picture of what Pampered Chef can be very, very quickly. So I realized that if I just continue down that path, I would have to make about the same amount of money. So 6 months later, that was the end of 2020. And I ended up making almost $48,000 in 6 months. And again, we're talking debt completely paid off, brand new car, $20,000 down for a house, all kinds of things that I just never really anticipated. So in addition to a paycheck, in addition to free products, you also get travel with Pampered Chef. And travel comes every year. So this year that you guys are just starting your businesses in, you actually have the opportunity to go to Boston, which is our first level of our trip. And then our second level of the trip is Punta Cana. So almost everybody on my team who is a director, actually everybody on my team who is a director, we're all traveling to Cancun next Monday. And this is our third incentive trip that we've earned. My 24th incentive trip I've earned, but they're third. So the beauty of this business is that it can be a little bit whatever you want, $500 a month, or it can be 5,000 a month, or whatever you're looking for. So don't limit yourself, because you might be very, very surprised as to what the possibilities are and where this business can potentially take you. So let's talk a little bit about the support and the training that you're going to receive. So one of the things that's so different from any other team that I've ever been on with any other direct sales company is the support. It's so important to have your support in the business, and you have it with Pampered Chef, but you really have it with our team. We are the #1 team in the country. Everybody wants to know what we're doing, what are our systems, what are our processes. So when you start talking about the business to other people, market that. People want to be on the top team. Who doesn't, right? You don't want to have to recreate all these systems and processes. When you're on a new team, that's tough. But our team is established. We got everything in place for you guys to be successful. So these are going to be your links to training. You're going to have your recruiter and your director. So for you and for Brandy and Lisa, you guys are directly linked with me. And then Tammy, you're directly linked with Karen. So you're going to have your recruiter, your director. You're going to have the 7 steps to fast track success. You're going to have Dash, which is in Pampered Chef's website, and you're going to have our team groups. And then, of course, you have boards and everything else associated as well. So all of those pieces are going to be there for you. If you haven't already gone into boards, or excuse me, into Dash, you want to do that first. You want to take these 2 classes. So if you want to write the word Dash down, and then just write welcome and getting started if you haven't yet taken those. Those are going to be your 2 modules that you want to take, and then you literally can stop, because honestly, our training is better than what's on Dash after that point. But you need these 2 to get started. Then make sure that you give your 90 and 30-day dates to your director, because she's going to want to help you ensure that you're not going to miss anything that can come your way in the sense of cash and free products. So I think most of you have already done that, so we're good there. So we have what is called the Pampered Chef Bible, and that is our Pampered Chef 7 steps to fast track success. This is where we're going to spend all of our time tonight, because I want to make sure that you know this document as easily as possible on where to get the resources that you need. But it's also very imperative that you do this. Don't wait more than 5 minutes. So if you start looking through here and you're like, where did she say this was? And you look through it for a few minutes and you cannot find it, just stop and just reach out and say, hey, I need help. I can't figure out where this is. And we'll tell you where it is. But I always do encourage you to kind of try to find something at first, because it will help you as you continue to navigate through the document. But we start you off at a basic step, which is basically how to set up Google. If you already know how to do it, you're done with step number 1. Then it's also about boards. Make sure you download the boards application. That is where we put all of our resources, and then also in this 7 steps. Then it's some basic stuff, getting to know a little bit about the team, booking your parties, setting up your parties, running your parties, booking from your parties, and recruiting from your parties. So you can imagine that these 5, 6, and 7 steps, you don't need to worry about those right now, because most of you are not going to be running your parties by yourself for at least the first week or so. Okay. After that, you'll be running those, but you can just start at the top here and then make your way towards the bottom. So everything is in an order of progression with your business. So the first step is Google Docs and boards, and it's pretty simple. You're going to get a checklist that's going to go alongside of your training here. As a matter of fact, let me put it in the chat. I want you guys to have that as well. Because what's nice about the checklist is that it corresponds to our actual training steps. So that means when you're going through step 1, check off when you've done each of your steps. That way you know, okay, I've definitely set up my 4 calls with my director. I definitely have the PC Bible, which is the 7 steps. I know how to do Google Drive. So check off each time that you get through a module or a checklist, and that way you'll be able to kind of feel accomplished, but also you'll know that you haven't missed anything. Okay, so that checklist is coming up here in just a quick minute. Okay, so this is the very first step. And basically this is just going to walk you through how to use Google Docs. If you already know how to use it, you don't even need to worry about going through here. It's also going to give you a link to boards, so you'll have that as well. So here's the boards application, and you want to make sure that you just simply download that app. And let me put this 7-step checklist here in the chat, so you make sure that you'll have that. All right, it's coming up. So step 2 is literally just getting your business started and getting it off the ground. So this is kind of what your step 2 is going to look like, the checklist that I'll be referencing here throughout. I'm going to put it in the chat right now. So if you don't have this checklist, I would definitely open it up so you can kind of follow along. It will help you as we continue to go through this, because we're going to whip through things really, really quickly so we can make sure that we cover everything, but we will go back and discuss everything with you again on our individual calls. So you want to make sure that you have joined all the team pages, which is on the checklist, and your director will add you to all of the team pages. I start my team off with just the Read Rockstars. Tonight, I'll add you to the Read Rockstar chat. So that's going to give you access to everybody on our team. We have about 200 people on our team, and we have about 10 directors. Basically, those are people at my level, and they will be able to help you with anything. Like if I'm, out or what have you, and I can't get to you, somebody else will be able to. Every Monday night from 9 to 10 p.m. It's a little late, I know, but we have consultants all over the country, so we have to accommodate people on the Pacific Coast time. So we have a Monday night call with our national executive director from 9 to 10, but this is the only night that we'll need to compromise that time because we need to finish up our training. So you'll also have a chance to go through Dash, as we already talked about. In Dash, you'll also want to set up your order payment account and your direct deposit. This is so you can get paid. And then there's 5 things that you want to do in the first 7 steps. And one of those is watch the New Consultant Strong. So let's take a look at that real quick. And by the way, after tonight, you will get this PowerPoint too. So you'll be able to go back and say, okay, where did we find this, that, or the other? So what I just referenced on this section here, this is the checklist, is also here, okay? So when you open up the 7 steps, anytime you see a blue link, that means there's documents or materials behind that. And you probably already discovered that. So this just goes over everything I just said, the team pages, the Monday night calls, the 5 things that you want to do before your first week. And here's the links to set those up. And then this video is like 20 or actually 40 minutes long. That's probably the longest of the group, but it really talks about how to get off to a strong start. So what I do sometimes is I don't always have time to get on the Monday night calls, but I always listen to them the next day. I just pop it in. It's a YouTube link. I pop it on my earphones and I take my walk and I listen to the call. And then sometimes I have to go back and take notes because there are some really specific things I want to do. But this is the beginning. Welcome to our team. And this is step 2 of 7. So this goes into step 3. And step 3 is all about booking your party. So whenever you're thinking about your business and you say to yourself, okay, I need to find out where is boards or how to get to boards. Anytime that you need to find something, go into the 7 steps. And if you hit Control F, that's Control Find, type in the word board or type in any keyword, you're going to be able to find 90% of the time what you're looking for. And so this will help you out quite a bit if you know how to use that Control Find. So first of all, you're going to see that there are 3 ways to party. We have online parties, we have home parties, we have wedding showers, we have fundraisers, all kinds of different things. Then we have book your first parties. So this is going to talk to you about why we recommend 4 parties a week and the reasoning behind that. And I'm going to go over that in a little bit too. Then we want you to track. It's so important that you track. Think about this. Tonight, I've reached out to 50 people to have parties. Do you think I'm going to probably remember 2 of them by tomorrow? I will tell you, I will not, because tomorrow I'm going to reach out to 50 more people. And where am I getting these people? These are people that are in my parties. So for example, Brandy was one of my hosts last week, and she had like 36 people in her party. I reached out to 36 people. She ended up getting 3 bookings from that. And I think, what do you have now, Brandy, like 7 or 8? 8, right. And all she did, awesome. All she did was go into her party and continue to reach out to people and follow up with them. And that is the only thing you have to do to get parties, is just continue to do those reach outs. And remember, there's fortune in the follow-up. So we don't always get the booking on the very first reach out, but where I get a lot of bookings is when I follow up with them 1 or 2 times after, and sometimes even a third. The funny thing is, oftentimes they message me and say, oh my gosh, Lorraine, I'm so sorry, I forgot to follow up with you. And that's why I know that this system always works, because the follow-up is the key. So I have to have some sort of tracking system, right? So I have some people on my team that love paper. I don't like paper. I don't have time for paper. So I have to do everything on my phone. So no matter where I am, I can access my leads at all time. So I'll use a Google spreadsheet, or I'll use one of these all-in-one trackers. However you want to track, it's totally up to you. Just make sure that you do it, because it's really hard to keep up with otherwise. So you'll see here, use these words to book your first parties and to follow up. And this goes over 4 parties a week, that it's smarter, not harder. You want to book 4 parties with 4 different social groups. I had a party last week, and I think we booked 10 parties from one party. And they were all in the same group. So I had to really be conscious about putting them in different spots throughout my calendar, because I can't have 5 parties from the same group in 1 week. It would, saturate that area. So you want to kind of push things out. But ultimately, if you're running several parties at one time, you're not going to run into much of that problem at all. This goes over the commission structure and how it works and how to maximize your structure. The highest commission level that we earn is 32%. So this doesn't even go over all the possibilities. This is just in your very first month or 2. These are your commission levels. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about how to book these first parties. So there are 3 ways, obviously, to have parties. We talked about that. You're going to go through, I'm sorry, let me back up. This is actually the checklist. So this is what your checklist is going to look like, and you're just going to check each box as you go through it. We've already gone over all of these little steps in step 3, and this is just the corresponding checklist. So we don't need to go back over there. But we want to talk a little bit more about how we get these parties booked, because we want to get booking parties tonight or tomorrow. And ultimately, the quicker you jump on this, the quicker things are going to work out for you. So where do you think you get your first parties from? You're going to get your first parties from your friends, your family, your Facebook people that you know. And then if you had your own party, you're going to get them that way. How do you think you'll get your first parties? You'll get those first parties, bless you, from reaching out to the people in the party, reaching out to your family and friends, sending them a message. We have all the words. You don't have to recreate them. As a matter of fact, don't recreate them, because our words absolutely work. And then this is the goal per day. The goal per day is to reach out to 30 people per day for 5 days in a row. So if you follow that process, make a list of 150 people, reach out to 30 each day, you will have approximately 10 to 15 parties on your schedule. That's going to complete your schedule for the entire month, and you're good to go. And that's where you want to be. You don't want to be booking today for Friday. You want to be booking today for 2 weeks from now or 3 weeks from now. So you always have that cushion going. So just a raise of hands, how many of you have ever made a whirlpool in a pool? Like you jumped into a pool and you made, okay, great. So you know what the whirlpool concept looks like. So this is the whirlpool concept. You jump into the pool and you have to do 4 things, and there's some things you can't do, right? So number 1, you have to keep swimming. You cannot stop, especially in the beginning. If you stop your whirlpool in the beginning, put your feet down or decide to go another direction, what happens? The water stops, right? And then what do you have to do? If you want a whirlpool, you got to start again. And that stinks, right? So we want you to keep swimming. And that's why we're going to say, do your 30 reach outs for 5 days in a row. That's you jumping into your whirlpool and getting that momentum going. If you stop, you got to restart. And so try not to have any breaks in those 30 reach outs for 5 days in a row. You will thank yourself. And sometimes people say, oh, I don't know if I can reach out to 30 people. You don't know until you do it, truly. So my suggestion is just to jump in, go on blind faith. And by the end of these 150 reach outs, you're going to come back and you're going to say, oh my gosh, she was so right. I am so glad I decided to do it. And Brandy's been a consultant for about a day or two, and she's got 8 bookings on her calendar. So all she's doing is just continuing to reach out. And that is just the key to making all of this happen. But as I mentioned, the fortune of what we do is definitely in the follow-up, because not everybody is going to respond. As a matter of fact, one of my new consultants just messaged me today and she's like, I feel defeated because people are not responding. So my first question was, how many people have you reached out to? And she said 10. So all right there, she already has numbers stacked against her, right? Because she's not reaching out to enough people to get enough results. So when I reach out to 30 to 50 a day, I usually have 10 people that immediately respond back. And I usually have about 15 that don't respond. And I usually have about 5 that book a party from 30 people that I reach out to. So those are the numbers that you can kind of expect to get. But where I get a lot of the bookings is when I follow up with them a few days later. So look at this rate of success. So 5% of your success comes on reach out 1. And so that clearly shows you that your success is not really going to be indicative of the very first time that you reach out. Your success comes when you follow up once, twice, 3 times. But let's say this happens. Let's say I reach out to Tammy and she tells me no on the very first reach out. The answer is no, you move on. But if Tammy says, no, I'm just too busy, or no, my friends have been to too many parties, or no, I don't need any products, we have an answer for anyone that says no, but. And here's the thing. If you use the words that we give you when they say no, but, you will book more than 50% of those no buts. As a matter of fact, I probably book at least 90% of them. So when they come back and say no, but, I just use the words that are in boards and I get the booking almost every time. Not every time, but almost every time. So it definitely works. Do not take no, but, and drop it. But if they say no, not interested, then that's it, right? You're done. You go on to the next person. So here's why we recommend 4 parties a week. And this happens every single solitary week, no fail. Some of the people that I think are going to have magnificent parties drop out for one reason or the other. So I had 10 parties last week. 2 of them immediately folded and they booked for other weeks. They just couldn't figure things out or whatever, and they had to reschedule. So if I only had 2 parties and it was those 2 women, I would have been done for the week, which would have really stunk, right? So instead, book 4 parties a week because one of them is going to flip. So for example, my flipper was Brandy. She was a host. We flipped her party over kind of three-fourths of the way through her party. She got the rest of the sales at the end of the week. So she was a flip party. Then you're going to have a flop party. Those are those 2 women that just said, I'm not going to do it this week. And they pushed off to other weeks. And then you're going to have 2 that fly. So if you have 8 parties, then you're typically going to have that. You're going to typically have 5 or 6 that go in, and you're going to have 1 or 2 that drop off. So 4 is 1 flip, 1 flop, 2 fly. And so here's an example of what happened to me in March of 2022. Think about it. If I only had these 2 parties, it would have been a very bleak week, right? I would have made $20 because that's going to be 20% of $200. So it wouldn't have been a good week. But thankfully, I had these 3 parties as well. I had 5 parties that week. So it was 1,000, 600, and 700. So as a result of that, my paycheck was $820 something for that week, not month, but week. So you can see the power is in the numbers of parties that you get. And the number of parties is dictated by the reach outs that you make. And again, in the beginning of your business, this is going to be your friends and family. But after you've been through the first 30, 60 days of your business, you should never need your family again, unless you just need that one more party for one more incentive a year down the road type of thing, because you should be going into people that you have no idea who they are after those first couple of parties. So let's talk about why all these parties make a difference, because in the beginning of your business, the first 90 days, we have what are called fast track selling rewards and fast track recruiting rewards. So let's talk about the selling rewards first. So you're going to see here, based on what you sell in the first 30, 60, 90 days of your business is what is dictated with what you get in the free rewards. So you can see here in your first 30 days, when you sell $500, you get a free brownie pan. When you sell $12.50 in your first 30 days, if you signed up between March 1st and July 31st, you get a free, June 30th, you get a free KitchenAid mix, or not KitchenAid mix, you get a free mixer from Pampered Chef. You also get additional selling rewards when you sold $2,000 in March. Obviously, that's already gone and passed. When you sell 2,500, you get a free piece of cookware. And when you do 5,000, you get a free knife block set. So if you do 4 parties a week, each week in your first month, you will earn everything on this grouping within the first 4 to 6 weeks of your business. But they give you 90 days. So you do have a cushion time just in case you need that. And then you can see here, these are the incentive travel trips that are dependent upon your sales each month. Then we have recruiting rewards, and this is where it gets super lucrative. Remember, my first paycheck was $2,100. Then I signed a whole bunch of consultants. My director trained them, coached them, because I had no idea what I was doing. And as a result of that, I had 15 people on my team in my second month, and my paycheck was just under, or just over 71 or 70 something hundred. I can't remember exactly the amount, but it really grows exponentially when you are recruiting. So the number one person to sign up through our parties is always, no matter what, hands down, the host. She is the most probable person to become a consultant over everybody in the party. However, there are people in our party that I call rock stars. There are people that in our party that I call potential consultants, and there are people in our party that I call potential hosts. And there's certain things that we put in our party templates to encourage that activity. So we might put a post, we always put a post in about travel. Anybody who comments on a travel post, I'm going to reach out to them individually. We have the words, they're all in boards. All you got to do is click the button that says travel and you're good to go. You send the message to them, and the worst they can say is, no, I'm not interested. But what you have done is you've planted a seed. So when the next post comes out about $500, what would you do with an extra $500? That person is probably going to look again. And if they comment again, I'm going to go back and reach out again and say, hey, I noticed you commented on the $500 post. If I could show you how to do this all online, would you be interested in learning more? You don't have to know those words because those words are in boards and everything is there for you. So I just make sure that I keep an eye on very, very important posts. Now I tell you exactly the trick to all this. So 7 o'clock at night, every night in our template, you might want to write this down. 7 o'clock is every game that we have. So we have a game 5 out of 6 nights. So if you're looking for interaction in your party, it's at 7 o'clock. Most people are online at 7 o'clock and they're going to be playing the games. Then at 8 o'clock every night is either a recruiting post or a booking post. So if you're trying to get parties, you're trying to get bookings, you're trying to get potential recruits, they are probably going to sit around that time frame. So look at the posts that come out, see the people that comment, and remember, use your tracker. So if Tammy commented on a post, I would reach out to Tammy and send her the message that's in boards, and then I would see what she says, and I would go from there. Anytime you have somebody potentially interested in being a consultant, try not to take that on your own. Please reach out to us as your recruiter because we know what to say and what not to say. Sometimes as a new consultant, you kind of throw up on them, you kind of say this, that, and the other, and you'd be so great and da-da-da-da-da. But we know less is more. So we'll teach you how to kind of get that message out so it becomes attractive versus overwhelming. So in the first 90 days, I really encourage every new consultant to go for fast track recruiting because this is where your paycheck can become limitless. So in your first 90 days, every person you sign up on your team and they do their first parties, they submit $12.50 in sales, you get a $100 cash bonus. So in my first month, I got a $400 cash bonus. My second month, I got a $1,200 cash bonus. And that was just from people that signed up. And I caught the fever right from the start. So my recruiter said, Lorraine, you should be a fast track director. Fast track director means you've signed 5 people in your first 90 days. I'm like, oh, I can do that. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I know I could sign my mom, my daughter, and my sister at the very least, and then we'll see what happens. And I actually didn't have to sign any of them. I ended up signing one of them later on, but it was just people at my party. And I just started recognizing based on the trainings that I was attending, who was interested. And I just asked them and look at it like this. You have a 50-50 shot. If you ask somebody to host a party, they're going to say one of 2 things, yes or no, right? Or maybe no because. And then if you ask somebody to be a consultant, they're going to say yes or no because, right? There's only 2 things that are going to happen in each scenario. And I would rather take a chance I got a 50-50 shot, right? If you ever went to Vegas and said, you got a 50-50 shot of winning $1,000, you go for it because it's too easy not to, right? This is the same type of thing. They're going to say yes, they're going to say no. It's just those two options. So when you promote to a director in your first 90 days, you're going to get a $500 cash bonus. And then when you do it again, you're going to get another $500 cash bonus. And then we have another incentive here that gives you an additional $2,000 cash bonus, and they give you 6 months to achieve that. So my goal always, when they threw money and dangled it in front of me, I knew exactly what I was going to do. I was going to do what I had to do to get there. And so literally, I just sat down with my director and I said, okay, how do I make a plan to make this happen? And we just followed the plan, and I just connected with her every once in a while, and the plan worked. So this is not like rocket science. This is not going to add an hour to your day by any means. It's just part of the process and just allows you to work smarter, not harder. Let me give you an example. I have a consultant on my team, and she does about 20 parties a week. Okay. 20 parties a week. That's a lot. It's a lot to manage. It's a lot to maintain, but she doesn't work another job. So this is her job. But my paycheck is about $3,000 more a month because I do less parties and recruit a lot more people. And so I can't do 20 parties, but I want to make what it counts to do 20 parties. So I just continue to spread the news about the business. So that's what's working smarter, not harder. And that's really the key to making this all work for you and to be time conscious for you as well. So this is what a director looks like. And I always like to give this slide because it's interesting. Mary Kay is a very well-known company, but they have very, very strict rules to become a director. As a matter of fact, it's almost like you got to take a 1,000-piece puzzle and have no idea what the puzzle looks like and try to put it together. I mean, truly, it takes 25 people working at the same time to be a director with Mary Kay. We keep it simple. It's 5 people. You sign them up. Boom, you're a director. That is how simple this works. There are a couple other strategic pieces that we have to put into place. So here's an image. Let's say, Tammy, this is you and you signed 5 people. You would be a director. You would have to submit $750 in sales, and everybody, including you, would have $5,000 in a team sale concept. So it's you and all of your team. And then let's say this is you, Brandy, and you sign these 4 consultants, and then somebody else signs somebody else, right? And then somebody else 2 weeks ago was on this call, and this is her scenario. She signed up 2 of her best friends 2 weeks ago. Her best friend just messaged me tonight, and she signed up another person down here. And then this person here, Carrie, she's getting ready to sign another person. And within 3 weeks, 4 weeks actually, she's going to be a director. So she's literally been in the business less than a month, and she already has this in place. And it's just because she number 1, made a decision. Number 2, stuck with her recruiter and just worked through that process. And she's going to be a director here probably in the next week or so. So it works really, really well. So again, here's the paycheck for a director, $7,438.62. And if I wasn't a director, this paycheck would have been closer to $3,000. So it really, really pays, obviously, to be a director with the Pampered Chef. So we're going to walk you through all of this again. So don't feel like you have to, know this by heart. So as I mentioned, directors also get free travel. Like I said, I've been to 24 different destinations, totally free on Pampered Chef over my career. And every director on our team does travel to different destinations. Directors also get every single product Pampered Chef introduces every single season. We introduce 4 seasons a year. We always get a whole package of free products as a director, and we get a whole package free as a consultant. So we get double perks when it comes to that. So how do you make money and how do you earn products? Like, what do we need to do to make this all happen? Well, we have to book parties. So let's talk a little bit more about just that, and that is booking these parties. So as we already talked about, we know that there are 3 ways that we can party. We know that this is the video we're going to watch to book these parties, and this is how we're going to track it. And here are our words. So let's talk about these words, because this is where I sit in my business probably more than any other place, is in this booking document. So this is called the flow chart. This is under step 3, booking, words, and objections. It's also in boards. So anything you see here, it's always going to be in boards as well. So you want to make sure that you have the Read Rockstar board, and everything I'm telling you here is all in there. So the first thing you want to do is watch this video. It's 5 minutes long, super brief. Then here are the first words. So let me click the next slide. These are the words, okay? So this is just an example of some of the words. And I got to be honest with you, I wasn't too keen on these words. However, again, I just decided I'm not recreating this wheel. I don't have time. My director is the #1 consultant in the country. I'm not changing a thing, right? She's super successful. I'm just going to make it happen. I didn't like this word guinea pig, but you know what happened? My first 8 parties, they all said, I'll be your guinea pig. I'll be your guinea pig. So it was just something I wasn't comfortable with. But if you've ever heard this quote, it's find your comfort zone and stay as far away from it as possible, because that's truly where growth occurs. You will not grow in your comfort zone. So anything that makes you feel a little bit uncomfortable, plow through it, because that's where you're going to see growth in your business for sure, and in your personal life as well. So let's say you send out those first words and you get no. And then you're like, well, what do I do? You'll go down this tube and you'll click this link, and it'll say, these are the words that you use when you get a flat out no. And then you send out the next group and they say no, because. So we have about 20 different responses when they say no, because. And this is where I get almost all my bookings booked, is on these no, because they think if they say no, I don't have time, that we're just gonna, be like, okay, next person. But we know that if we can resolve this objection for them, like if they didn't really want to have a party, they would say, Tammy, no, done. Or Brandy, no. But they say no because they're still 50-50. They don't really know if they want to have a party. They're going to give you the easiest objection, which is typically time. And then we come right back and we say, did you know it only takes about 2 minutes a day to have a party? If we can make it this easy for you, would you want to host a party? Most of them are like, sure, didn't even realize it, had no idea. So if you can resolve the objection by the words that we give you, you will get more bookings from your no, because. And then if they say yes, you just click this. So whatever response you get, you go into that tube. And if they don't respond, these are the follow-up words. The fortune, again, is in your follow-up. So you will be following up with a lot of people. So these are the words that work. There's 3 sets of words. You choose the ones that you like the best. This is the one I liked the best, really, but the least. But I went with it anyway, and it worked. I ended up booking 8 parties immediately. So just keep pushing and keep encouraging as you walk through. So here's the objections. When somebody says, or it says here, is everyone going to say yes? And we know that's not going to happen. So when they say no with a reason, offer a solution. So I don't need products. Say this. I never have successful parties. Copy and paste this. My friends don't have money. Copy and paste this. That's it. Copy, paste, or just use boards and just click the buttons, because all of these are in boards as well. Okay, so this is going to be the last part of the first step of our classes. So this is step 4, and this is setting up your first parties. So now you have your parties booked, and then the next thing you need to do is start to work on getting these parties running. So you're going to use step 4 in the 7 steps, right? So the first thing you're going to do on your checklist, give me 1 second, is you're going to create your Facebook business page. Now, most of these directions will give you computer and phone directions, so you're just going to follow accordingly. Once you create your business page, you go to the next piece, create your Post My Party account. It's free for the first 30 days. So you click that link, it takes you into Post My Party. And then this here says, watch how to edit a shared party template. So we're going to share a template with you. It's in boards, in the Read Rockstar board. You're going to click here, and that's going to show you how to edit a shared template. And all you have to do is edit like 1 or 2 words out of every post. And we change our template every 2 months. So once you edit it, this template's going to take you all the way through April, and we're starting to work on another one for May and June. And then save and edit the current template. You're going to ask your recruiter, that's us, and it's going to be in board, so you'll have that. Step number 5 is set up the party on Consultants Corner. So you click this link, There's like a 2-minute YouTube video. It'll show you how to set up the party on Consultants Corner. After you've done that, you'll create your party in your Facebook group. So you have your group in Facebook, you create it. Then you have a banner. You put the banner at the top of the Facebook. So there's a nice pretty picture at the top. Then we're going to give you the words to put in the party and you're going to pin them. It's going to say, how do you want this post to appear? And there's like these 3 little dots. They're called ellipse. You click that and you pin it. So that way it stays put. It doesn't get mixed up in all of the other posts. And then it says, set up your party on Post My Party. So we got the template in there. Now we need to connect the party to Facebook to Post My Party. So they just completely talk to each other all week long and post all of your posts automatically in your party. And then this video here is like 5 minutes and it just shows you how to use the tracker with your party. Because a lot of things are happening in your party. Like on day 1, there is a recruiting post and I'm probably not going to remember who commented on the recruiting post on day 3. So I make sure I go back in my parties on day 1 and just kind of, siphon through who commented on anything that makes, is a moneymaker. And the moneymakers are the booking and the recruiting post. And then number 9, it says how to run your parties, but that's actually step 5. So we'll be going there in a little bit later today. So let's break this down. So on your checklist, if you follow this in order, first step, create your business page, then create Post My Party account. Then you're going to edit the template. Then you're going to download. Actually, you're going to download the template first before you edit it. So these need to be switched. You're going to set up the party in Consultants Corner. You're going to create your party in Facebook. You're going to add the banner, the pin post, and then you're going to set up the party that you created in Facebook in Post My Party. So basically what you're doing here is you are creating the party on your you're creating your business page that you only have to do that one time. Then you're creating a Post My Party account. Then you're downloading the template from boards. Then you're editing the template in Post My Party. Then you're setting up the party in Consultants Corner. Then you're creating the party on Facebook. You're putting the banner and the pin post. And then you set up the party on Post My Party. So I do this on Mondays. Mondays is the beginning of my week. Some people start on Tuesdays, but I start setting up my parties on Monday. So once you get this down to a science, like I set up 10 parties in 30 minutes today. When I first started, it probably took me 30 minutes to set up one party, but you get the gist of it and you get the thing rolling and you know where to go, how to reach it, how to put it here, how to set it there, and you're good to go. And really on Mondays and Tuesdays, you're just setting up the party. You're not even worried about Post My Party at this point. You're just setting up the parties to get the hosts to start inviting. Okay, so you will all have access to the Read Rockstar board. I can't copy that, but you should all have it. I know Brandy has it. I'm pretty sure you have it, Tammy. If you don't, just put a comment in the chat. You don't have it, and I'll make sure that you get it. But here is the board. You're going to click the board, and it's going to take you to the Read Rockstar board. So let me show you what that looks like. Can you give me a thumbs up if you can see this image, the board? Can you see the boards start for free? Okay, cool. All right. So I have a ton of different boards because I use them for different purposes in my business, but the one you're going to really focus on right now is going to be the Read Rockstar board. And what I love most about these boards, number 1, it's free. And number 2, you can use this on your phone or your computer. So here's the Read Rockstar board, and you'll see that all the files are in alphabetical order, okay? So this just takes a little bit of practice, getting used to where to find things, so on and so forth. So I want to give you a quick reference point for these so it makes sense to you. So these are all in an order of in alphabetical order. So first you're going to have the 7 steps. When you click this 7 steps, it's going to open up all the steps, right? So we just went over getting started, welcome to our team, booking your parties, setting up your parties. The next group is going to be under run your parties and run your recruit at your parties and book your parties. So this is under the 7 steps. So when I'm done with that, I'm going to go back out. And if I want to learn about boards, I'm going to click here. This is everything you can possibly want to know about boards. That's sitting there. Anything you want to know, like technical stuff about Pampered Chef, like where can you advertise? Are you allowed to use this link or that link? Anything like procedure, policy is going to be here. E-cookbooks are sitting here. We have a concept called Everybody Wins. So at the end of all of my parties, I take the Everybody Wins and I take an image, put it in my party, and that's how I reach out to 30 to 50 people every day. Because basically everybody is winning a free e-cookbook. And if they want to upgrade, they can upgrade that and they can have their own party. Any technical Facebook stuff is here. So things we've just discovered along the way that are just helpful pieces are going to be here. Everything we need to coach our host is here. So remember, you cannot be successful without your host, but she cannot be successful without you. So it's a tag team effort, right? So today is my setup day. So I would click this. This is the pinned post. You'll see here, it says pinned post. All you're going to do is click share, or you can just copy and paste. Copying and paste it keeps this program free. If you click share over 100 times, you will have to pay. So I like that option because I want it to be a little bit easier for me, but all my team usually takes the free option on boards, and then they'll just copy and paste that into their parties. So once you have that pinned post, then you're going to take this one, click right and click copy and paste it into your party. These are your pinned posts, okay? So they're all here for you at your fingertips. Once your party is set up, then you're going to start coaching your host, which we're going to talk about later. And this just walks you through on what to do. So you'll see here, stage 1 is setting up your party. Stage 2 is getting them ready for the party. And stage 3 is the party, okay? And these are just some helpful pieces. So remember how I told you that there's responses for everything? See how this says responses to booking and recruiting? They're all sitting back here. So if somebody comments on a recruiting post, the $500 post, I'm just going to copy this message and I'm going to send it on to them. That's it. And then I'm going to follow up with them. If they mention their favorite perk, I'm going to copy this and fill in the blanks. Just remember, there's got to be blanks because you got to fill stuff in. So let's say that I need some booking responses. Here we go. They don't have any money. They don't want to have a party. I don't need anything else. They don't want to have a party. I don't want to do a party right now. No, without a reason. No, never. My friends are busy, blah, 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 blah. Everything is here. So all you got to do is when they say my friends don't like to cook, you click this, you copy and paste, and boom, you send them that objection answer and then wait and see what they say. Oftentimes they will book the party. So just keep that in mind as you're going through your business. All right. So we have join the Read Rockstar boards. You would click that, click there, and you're in, which you guys are already in, so you don't need to worry about that. Any kind of marketing imageries. This is everything from the Pampered Chef's website. If you need a digital host packet, it's sitting here. So your host packets are there. Then you have product images. Let's say you want something that is about baking. You click here, and boom, we have all of these images sitting here waiting for you that you could use. So the key with boards is really just to get comfortable and navigate around. And before you know it, everything just starts making sense on where things are going to be located. But 9 times out of 10, I am literally just focusing in on my one board, which is host coaching, setting up my party, my pre-party, my party messages. So what you can do is this. Let's say that you don't want to keep using my board. You don't have to. You can take this board and you can select all these, and then you can copy it and move it into your own board. And that way, if it says Lorraine this, Lorraine that, you can now put Tammy this, Brandy that. So that way it becomes your board and you can personalize it the way you want to personalize it. So that's the way to keep it kind of unique and make it a lot easier for you. But that's just a quick tutorial, just giving you a quick idea on where things are going to be located. All right, let's go on to the next section. And this is setting up your first party. So we've kind of already gone through most of this, but we just want to highlight just some basics about it. Again, setting up your business page, post my party. Actually, we've already been all through this, so we don't need to go through this again. Okay. So this is where we get into host coaching. This is where we talk about the host and how we can make this experience for her the best it can be. So obviously we cannot be successful without a coach in this business. If I were to say to you, okay, Brandy, figure this whole thing out yourself. Well, it would not be a good idea, right? Because you're going to run into pitfalls and you're not going to be 100% sure how to make that happen. And if I were to say, okay, host, yeah, you're the host of this party, you figure out how to invite your friends, you figure out how to get bookings for me, like that would never fly, right? Your host would be like a deer in headlights. She would probably cancel the party, or she would just be like, this woman's crazy, right? So we need to create a partnership with our host. And that's why we call it host coaching. So we are coaching them to have a successful party. Just like you start a Pampered Chef, you want to be successful. Your host wants to have a party. She wants to be successful, but you can't be successful without her, and she can't be successful without you. So we got to partner together. And so I always like to find out, like, what are you looking for from your party? Do you want the air fryer? Do you want the mixer? What do you want? Because ultimately, if I can figure out what they want, and that's all in boards, I got a leg up on the game. So when, let's say she doesn't invite enough people, I can say, okay, Brandy, I know you want that mixer. I want to help you get that mixer for 60% off or 50% off. Can you invite 50 more people? It'll really help us get to that level to ensure that you can get the mixer for free. But if I have no idea what Brandy wants, I have nothing to go on. I can just only say, Brandy, can you do this? But if I can dangle the carrot that Brandy already selected, I'm one step ahead of the game. It really makes a big difference. So that's why we coach our hosts, is we coach them so they can be successful and we can be successful as well. So this is the end of the first part of our training. We are starting another training at 8:30 to 9:30, but I wanted to give you guys a pause so you can kind of digest this. If you're able to come back and listen to the rest of the call, it's going to be from 8:30 to 9:30, which is going to cover steps 5, 6, and 7. So can you guys come back? If not, we will cover this again next week. So you can come back next week and do 5, 6, and 7, because if you're just starting your business right now, you don't need this right now. You need it next week. Okay. So if time is of the essence, don't worry about it. Just come back next week and we can cover you on 5, 6, and 7. Is that good? Okay, great. So if you guys have any questions after this, let me know. Otherwise, we'll catch up with you either, for your parties, and Brandy, you and I'll be in connection. And I know, Tammy, you're going to be connecting with Karen, and then we'll catch up next week and we'll finish up the rest of the training. Okay. All right. Have a good night. Thanks so much. All righty. Bye-bye.